Hey, what's going on, movie fans? This is the Movie Fan Podcast, episode 4. Today, we're going to be talking about Baby Driver. I'm going to mention Despicable Me 3, the Jumanji trailer, the Foreigner trailer, and then we got a random movie-themed question at the end of this segment. I'm Rich McCaney. That's Brenton Dowers. You know what the business is. Baby Driver. Let's go ahead and jump right into this thing. For those of you who don't know, based off the trailer, it's Baby is under the thumb of Kevin Spacey, who runs a group of random misfits, is what I'm going to call them, to run a bunch of different heists. Baby is the getaway driver. The movie's pretty straightforward. It's about him trying to get out of this life. Things go amok towards the end, and, there's your movie. Storyline-wise, Britain didn't really blow my skirt up. Really straightforward, which I don't mind. I don't need complicated storylines most of the time, especially when you have one that has camera work as good as this movie, and obviously the music and just the way that the story was told. It's amazing that you could take such a basic storyline that we've heard and seen a bazillion times over in countless movies, but then tell it in such a way that makes it completely engaging. Britton, I know how you feel about this movie. Why don't you let everybody else know your thoughts about Baby Driver?
I loved it. I thought it, probably it's definitely my top 10 of the year. I don't know if it would sneak in the top 5 currently, but it was great. It was just a fun, enjoyable time watching it. I think his use of music within the film is the biggest plus for it. I think if you I think that's going to make or break if you like the movie or not. I think if you like the way he uses the music, you're going to love it. If you don't, I don't think it may not work as well for you. But the opening scene alone, it just completely endears you to his character with him dancing and waiting for the bank robbers to come out in the first action chase scene. It's nearly perfect in that aspect. And then the subsequent car chases and every single chase scene is done just masterfully.
It's so good. Yeah. Like with him dancing and stuff was even at the beginning, but when he's walking down the street and he's got the coffee, it pretty much lets you know what kind of kid you're dealing with, and that he's just almost kind of in his own world, almost like music just takes more. And for those of us who like music is that powerful. Like it can just take you away. If I'm down, if I'm going to work out or something like that, whatever kind of music comes on, it can lift me up or whatever. And the scene, when I was talking about camera work, was when I really noticed it, was when he's walking down the street, the way it would pan around him. And it's like it focused out everything around him and just focused on him and the music. So it almost made you feel like you were that character for a minute. And the music in this was a character in its own. I think a lot of the lyrics and stuff kind of either foretold or talked about what was happening or about to happen. And I'm sure there was a ton of stuff, like little hints and subtle things that went together that I just didn't pick up on, because I feel like that's how he was telling the story. But I was fascinated with that, the beats with the music, with him pulling forward and pulling back. And, you see the bank robbery without seeing the bank robbery, because you're outside, you just know stuff's going down. You get a real strong sense that he's not okay with it and that the music is his escape while all this is happening. So awesome stuff. What did you think about Jamie Foxx's performance?
I loved it. Jamie Foxx was great in it. He was probably second or third favorite part of the movie, with just his overall demeanor and everything. I loved his, at the start of every heist that he was involved in, his little line that he gave. I don't want to give a spoiler away, but what he says before every heist was great. I've never heard that take before. It was just a nice little subtlety into his that character's inner psychological feeling. His monologue of, okay, this is how I'm going to get ramped up for this job is to say this to myself and not be really a mercenary. I'm going to be, this is how I'm going to get amped up. I love that character beat for him.
He was nuts. He made me uneasy.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of times when I'm in a movie that I feel uncomfortable. They did such a good job with the story that when he was on screen and talking, I felt uncomfortable. I was uneasy. That's what his character was meant to do. And I was like, man, you just don't know what he's going to do.
No, you didn't. He wouldn't have shocked me if something else would have happened.
Yep.
And he would have done, something else within the context of the story. Anything that that character would have done would have been believable.
Yes.
In the context aspects of the story.
That's how he wrote up, and I don't want to say unstable because he thought of maybe unstable. He just didn't care.
Yeah, just unhinged.
It was just I'm gonna look out for me. I'm not going to debate it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to take action. And he was just a man who was just going to take action without regards of any kind of consequences. And so it made me easy. Kevin Spacey, he didn't have like a huge part, like he wasn't in all the way through, but the parts where he was in was awesome, man. He was like, of course he gave his really good quip notes. There's one where he's talking and he's, drawing on a chalkboard, and he had that little line that cracked me up. Typical Kevin Spacey stuff as far as I'm concerned, especially after watching him on House of Cards. He was
the end. His actions towards the end of the movie bothered me a little bit. I thought it wasn't necessarily developed enough to do what he ended. That was the ending of the movie was my only complaint, where I kind of went the action went a little too over the top, and his character decisions that he made, I don't think were established enough, or there needed to be more back history of why he did what he did.
I can see that,
but it's not, it's a minor nitpick.
Yeah,
I guess
it's definitely, for those of you who ain't seen it, it's definitely not anything to take you out. I can see. I'm personally glad it went that way.
Yeah,
because it gave a depth to a character who didn't really have depth.
Yep, I think.
And when you go back and think about the connection, yeah. I made myself believe. I just told myself a story. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's probably at least. I think there's a bunch of deleted scenes with his character. It was kind of what I took out of it. I said, there's more. Possible. There's something more there with him and Baby, or maybe with his nephew Sam that we didn't see. There's maybe something more.
Yeah.
In that arena that shows more depth to that character that we just didn't get, and that it was maybe been cut out for pacing issues with them. It just didn't make sense to add those scenes into the movie. So
I can see that.
That's kind of what I kind of get out of that, just because of how well the other pacing and storytelling and everything else is in with the movie. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, there's something missing here, I think.
Like maybe it wasn't the most pivotal part of that film to flesh out something, but I get it. I was okay with that. There was when you say something about over the top at the end.
Yeah,
it was like kind of just progressed a little bit too much.
Yep.
Again, it did, and I noticed it at one scene. I wish I could talk spoilers in this, but we're not going to. But it was a lot. But like most action movies, when it gets to a climax, they just kind of keep going and keep doing this stuff. But look, the car chase scenes were, when I say realistic, let me say I was so involved, where I felt like I was in the car with them at some points.
Definitely.
Because when I left the theater, I'm pulling out of Chick-fil-A, right? Went to Chick-fil-A to eat. I'm about to back up. I turn around. I see a cop car. Immediately, I wanted to duck. I'm serious. Like, I turned my head around real quick, and I started laughing because I was like, bro, I instinctively felt like I needed to, duck and hide from this cop like I just juked him or something. So, hey, man, hats off to the movie. If you haven't seen Baby Driver, go and watch this. Like, it's probably the best original movie that's at the theater right now.
Oh, for sure.
Just come out this summer. I've been kind of disappointed this summer. I mean, what about you? I don't know if other than Wonder Woman and this movie, Baby Driver, I'm trying to think of what come out in the summer months so far that has been like blockbuster worthy. And this is not a blockbuster. Baby Driver's not a blockbuster, but it's still a really good movie. Wonder Woman was a blockbuster.
Yeah. I mean, Guardians I guess you could, since it was at the beginning of May, we could say Guardians.
I'll take that.
But yeah, Guardians, Wonder Woman, this, Mummy was a disappointment.
I mean, Pirates didn't really. I watched Pirates of the Caribbean. I liked it.
Yeah. Baywatch, I had high hopes for. Wasn't worth it. It was horrible.
What
else? I didn't go see anything last weekend because it didn't look good.
I feel like there was something. There was The Mummy. There was Pirates. It was Transformers. Like all of these movies that would normally, like Pirates a couple years ago, blockbuster, huge. Everybody's watching it, talking about it. Same thing with Transformers. They didn't do it. The Mummy, I didn't watch because you had said it wasn't worth watching, so I didn't waste my time. But these were all movies that were supposed to just crush, and none of them really crushed.
Yeah. I mean, King Arthur was good, or at least we thought it was good. Nobody saw it. Uh,
Poor King Arthur.
And then Alien Covenant, I thought it was good. Prometheus too. So I mean,
that was the other one I think I was thinking of.
So I mean, like we said, we both liked King Arthur. We thought but it bombed. Nobody else liked it.
Yep.
Nobody else saw it. People had issues with Alien Covenant.
What happened? What was the problem that people had with Alien Covenant?
I think the hardcore Alien fans they didn't get the Alien type movie they wanted because it was basically Prometheus 2. And then I think the Prometheus fans may have thought there was too much like an Alien movie. So I think he tried to split the difference, and I think he ended up upsetting both camps. I mean, they
did a good job because this whole thing is supposed to lead into what you know as Aliens.
Yeah.
So people who enjoyed Prometheus ought to know it's not going to stay that way, and the people who likes Aliens should be smart enough to know that, hey, we're showing a cool backstory here that's kind of unique.
Yeah,
the way it was developed and changed. So anyway, I don't know what to deal with Alien Covenant, but it didn't take off. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say is that all these blockbuster movies didn't bust no blocks.
Yeah.
I mean, none of them. I guess internationally you could say that about Transformers, but I haven't heard anybody talk about Transformers. Not really.
I mean, I didn't see it. I saw. I mean, I've never been a big Transformers fan. I wasn't even a big fan of the cartoon when I was a kid. I was a G.I. Joe, Thundercats, and what was it?
Smurfs.
DuckTales. Yeah.
You like Smurfs, don't lie. Pound puppies.
Yeah, Smurfs. Who doesn't love Smurfs? So I was never a huge Transformers guy. I was more Thundercats, He-Man, and G.I. Joe were my kind of
right.
vehicles. So I never even, like the first Transformers. I didn't even see it in the theater. I watched it at home. Mm-hmm. I thought it was decent. And then but I still didn't really like it. So I haven't seen any of the other ones after that. So when that one came out, I was like, I'm not even.
Yeah, you're not really missing much. It only did 49 million, I think. I'd have to go back and look. It didn't blow the top off domestically like the previous films. I think that shows the decline in that. And that thing is so, and that franchise, the same thing with Pirates. I actually enjoy Pirates quite a bit, to be honest, even though nobody was really talking about it. It was definitely better than the last 2 or 3 Pirates that we've had. And it was a little bit closer to scale as the first one. It was a good little adventure. I liked it. I took my daughter to watch it. She really enjoyed it. She come home and woke me up a couple mornings after that and was like, yo, Daddy, I got Pirates on the TV. We'll come and watch it. And she had found the original on Netflix. So she enjoyed it. Good fun over the top. But I don't know. I've just been overall disappointed in the summer. And even Guardians 2. I enjoyed Guardians 2. I thought it was a really good movie. Not as good as the first. I haven't thought about it since. Like when I got out of Guardians 1, I was like, I can't wait to revisit this world, to go back and watch Guardians again. And when I come out of Guardians 2, I was like, that was a fun movie. On to the next. And I never looked back. So Wonder Woman was the only movie I've watched this summer that made me want to go back and watch it again. And Baby Driver, to me, is one of those movies that I will appreciate the more I watch it and the more I think about it.
Yep.
And for those of you who have seen it, did you catch the subtle hint at the end? It was fascinating to me. Britton, he caught the visual representation of what I'm talking about, but missed the line that went with it, which is disappointing. You got to go back and watch it now.
Yeah, definitely.
But they said, I don't know. I like little stuff like that because it wasn't like focused on. It was just for people who happen to notice that little bitty stuff. And a proud daddy moment. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I took my kids to go watch Despicable Me 3, and this would be a good segue. I did a segue. Hey, I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. It was a total accident. We're going to talk about Despicable Me next. But a proud father moment of me was when we went to watch Despicable Me 3 yesterday, and it was just a scene, and it was a random, one of the little girls had the Grinch on her t-shirt. Like, not focused on nothing. It was just part of the story. That was just what she was wearing. My son, who's 3, leans over to me. He's like, look at the Grinch on her t-shirt. I don't know. I was proud because I was like, yo, my son is like paying attention to like random stuff in the movie, which is the exact same thing I do. Like I catch all that stuff. Anyway, Despicable Me 3. Pretty good movie. If you like the Despicable Me franchises or movies, whatever franchise, if you like that series, then I suggest you go and watch it because it was good. It was, to me, better than the second one. I didn't watch Minions. I don't count Minions. They're okay on screen in very small doses. They were okay in this movie. They had actually kind of a little interesting thing that they were doing in this one that I didn't mind. But yeah, Despicable Me 3, basically, Gru leaves the whatever special agency, gets fired, is depressed, finds out he has a twin brother, goes to his rich twin brother's house to find out what the family business is, which happens to be villainry, being a villain. So they're trying to bring him back to the fold, and he's over there, and he bonds with his twin brother. His brother's terrible at being a villain, so he brought Gru over to kind of teach him. But the best thing, Britton, and I would suggest you watch this for one reason and one reason alone, and that is the villain in this movie, Balthazar, I think Bad Boy Balthazar might be his name. Anyway, the guy in the purple, is like an 80s TV star who played a villain on TV, got rejected from the ratings went down when he hit puberty, which was a funny scene in the story. So he spends the rest of his life being an actual real life villain, kind of replicating his episodes. But since he's an 80s kid, all the music, 80s, all the toys that he used, weapons, it's all like 80s. The guitar, piano, the Rubik's Cube, a yo-yo, bubble gum, like the mullet. Like, it was one of the most exciting villains I've seen on screen, especially in like a cartoon. Every time he's on screen, I had a good time.
Nice.
And it's because the music was really good, because the music was all good 80s. I mean, it opens up with Michael Jackson.
Nice.
Like, and he's just dancing around doing his thing. And so I'm into it just for that alone. So since you haven't seen Despicable Me 3, we'll just kind of leave it there. It was a fun time at the movies, especially if you like that franchise. Okay, Brendan, let's talk about some trailers. Which trailer do you want to talk about first? We've got, what, two trailers we want to talk about?
Let's do Jumanji first.
Okay. Tell me about Jumanji. What do you think about Jumanji?
So I've never seen the original Jumanji. I was 14-ish when that movie came out. I thought it looked stupid when I was that age. Like, I don't want to see that. So, and I've never gone back and watched it. And I guess, kids that grew up in the 90s or a little bit later than me that saw it, man, apparently it's a huge deal to a certain age group of people that are now. So when I saw this trailer, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a great take. I think with the, getting sucked into the video game, the avatar, kind of typical standard, switch body thing with the, the athletic guy being short, Kevin Hart, the nerdy guy being The Rock, the kind of nerdy, quiet girl being the beautiful one. And then the best is Jack Black playing a teenage, drama queen, ditz blonde girl is just perfect. That's awesome. That will get me in the door alone to see Jack Black play that character. That's awesome.
I was so surprised about how much fun I had watching this trailer.
Yeah.
When they first announced Jumanji, I was like, oh, with The Rock, like anytime The Rock's attached to a property, it piques my interest anyway. And so I was like, well, let's see what they're going to kind of do. I did watch Jumanji. I'd watched it several times when I was younger, and I enjoyed the original Jumanji. I don't think it holds up, not to me personally, and that's just because of the special effects they did back then and the animatronics they had. They look so awful. It's kind of corny, but for anybody who loves Jumanji, you're not going to have any complaints from me because I thought it was good. But when they found out, when I read the synopsis, that they did a different take on it, which was like you mentioned, being sucked into like a gaming console, I think it's perfect. Like it really fits with me too, because I was a gamer. I'm a gamer now, and I was a gamer then, and so that makes it. If you're gonna bring it into this time frame, it makes it more believable. Mm-hmm. Kids find a console, and I wasn't sure how they was going to have The Rock and all them into it. And when they said Avatar. To me, when you're in a video game, it opens up limitless possibilities in a world that I will buy anything they try to sell me. Yep. And so I'm not sitting here trying to pick apart like, well, this is ridiculous, or that wouldn't happen. Like in the original, when the monkeys take over the police cars, like where are all the cops at? Like, why is nobody helping them? I don't have to think about any of that kind of stuff, man. They're in Jumanji in a video game. So whatever happens, I'm buying that mess. And like you said, with the different personalities going into them, I think this is a perfect type of role for Jack Black and Kevin Hart, because I can take or leave either one of those actors. I've seen them in movies where they're brilliant. I'm cracking up at every line. I've also seen them in movies where I was just kind of like, okay, kind of annoying, especially with Kevin Hart. Like sometimes he's in a movie it's not that funny. For some reason, I feel like it's going to be hilarious in this scene. I just like when he was like, "Where is the rest of my body?" I'm thinking that this is this big football player who's now a miniature sized dude. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. When you saying people was upset, it kind of blew my mind because let's be honest, as much as you like Jumanji, it can't be, right, a pivotal role in your childhood. It's not like kids who grew up on Star Wars or something, right? I mean, it's not that big. It's not like, is Jumanji iconic and I just don't realize it?
Yeah, there is some hardcore Jumanji fans out there that, from what I'm seeing, like I was scrolling through the comments on the YouTube video, and I mean, I know that's accessible, usually accessible, and people are scrolling a little bit, but man, there are some people out there that were not happy. They're not happy. I mean, almost, it's not Ghostbusters level hate, but
right.
It's up there. I mean, there's people really upset that they're doing this.
I had no idea.
Robin Williams is such a beloved actor and just a beloved person.
Yeah.
I think that adds a little bit to why people are a little upset with it, and that kind of adds something into it. With any of his properties that may get remade, you might see a little bit of backlash.
Do you think they're going to explain it? Do you think this is a continuation or a remake?
I think it's a continuation. I think that's what everybody was that's what The Rock said about that. It was going to most it is Jumanji 2 Into the Jungle. I think it's
because if the game is alive, which for those of you who have not seen Jumanji 1, it's a board game these kids find. It's like, I guess, ancient evil. They have, through the centuries, people find that they play it, and normally Jumanji comes to them. Right? They open up the board game and they play, and then Jumanji, which is a jungle with all this crazy stuff, ends up coming into, our world as they're playing to finish out the game. That's the only way to get it away. So obviously the kids, they end up trying to do something to the game again. And if it's a game that's alive, it wants to be played. So what does it do if nobody's playing board games anymore? So I'm like, hey, I still play board games. Heck, I had the Jumanji board game. Okay. I played Jumanji board game when I was a kid. But it makes sense if the game is alive to transfer its power or its being into another console. Because I could see, because with Robin Williams' character, when he went to Jumanji and he had to live his life there, it was a serious deal. It wasn't a video game. He wasn't an avatar. It was his real life person. He had to learn how to survive there. It was a very serious thing. And so if people are upset, I can understand it from the standpoint of, oh, now they're in Jumanji and it's like a video game and they're doing these crazy kicks and almost making it more lighthearted than a serious, scary jungle. And if people were expecting a scary jungle, they were expecting another type of movie in general, and I could understand it from that point. But if we're going to buy the fact that the game is alive and the game transfers over to a console, and that just opens up this movie to have more of a lighthearted, for fun tone to it. So that's why I'm excited about it. And I guess if people were upset because they thought they was going to get like a serious, like Kong Skull Island type feel.
Yeah.
I get it. So which would you rather? Let me ask you this. Thinking about a serious, hardcore jungle action movie where things are actually trying to kill them and they're trying to survive, like a Kong Skull Island, or would you prefer the more lighthearted video game Avatar adaptation that we're going to get?
I think I'd go with the adaptation. Maybe even if they can squeeze in some, some more seriousness about something within the game. Like the more they progress, their powers decrease and they become more in tune with the world or something. To make it a little bit more serious and give it a little bit more stakes. So I think they can thread the needle. And I mean, The Rock's a good enough actor. I think he's going to be.
They can do both. Like, it'll be an action comedy.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly where they're going to go with it. I think it's going to be some good action and high stakes. We know nobody's going to die. It's not going to be like this super huge drama, but they can do some fun stuff with it. Hey, The Rock's in there. He's a specialist. You know who else is a specialist? Don't you, Britton? Segue into my next trailer. The Foreigner. The Foreigner. Okay, I said that completely wrong, but The Foreigner with Jackie Chan. I was about to say Jelly. Jackie Chan, people, is coming back in like a John Wick style, old school action movie. Britton, you saw The Foreigner. You shared it in the group. Tell me about this trailer.
So I didn't even take it as like, a Taken. sadder taken. And so, I mean, and what sells it is it Jackie Chan has always been awesome and always been a martial artist, and he can kick ass. And the fact, I mean, they sold, I mean, even in that short 2-minute trailer, you're like, oh, you pissed off the wrong guy.
He was
made this guy mad, and you should not have. And like you're like, you could see the progression in the trailer, even like, oh, Pierce Brosnan doesn't know what he got himself into, or the character. And just even in that short 2-minute clip or that short 2-minute trailer, you're like, oh yeah, this is something that I definitely want to see. I want to see Jackie Chan go to town on these guys for them
for real.
Daughter. And it just sucks you in. You're like, okay, yeah, that's something I definitely want to see.
And you know what?
Did its job.
These type of movies are coming back. This is another story which is going to be probably predictable, maybe beat for beat, but it's old school action. It's just like John Wick. John Wick took off, but it was simple. They killed his dog. He used to work for the mob as a hitman. He'd come out of retirement to jack these guys up. He's on a revenge mission, period. Loved every second of it. Same thing with John Wick 2. The same way with the first, which was the first one you mentioned with Liam Neeson? Taken. Same way with that one. Very simple. Oh, you got my kid? I got a special set of skills. I'm about to use them. Jack all your people up. We know what's going to happen, but we're still fascinated with the way it takes. This is the same thing with Jackie Chan. And the one complaint I've always had about Jackie Chan for me personally was that he was always kind of goofy or silly, even in his action movies. And I'm talking going back to First Take, like it was almost this way, way big action, a bunch of awesome stunts, punching somebody, my hand. This is a Jackie Chan where he means business. I don't think he's going to be telling any kind of jokes whatsoever. I think he's going to be doing one thing, and that's killing people.
Yeah.
And that excites me. So I can't wait for this, and this is coming out in October, I think.
So, yep.
So man, I'm pumped for that. I can't wait for The Foreigner. If you have not seen that trailer, watch the trailer, The Foreigner with Jackie Chan. He's back, and he's going to do his thing. Okay, last thing, we're going to wrap this thing up real quick. We're going to ask a movie-related question, and I was thinking about it today because I just watched Sing Street for the first time. Not going to go into it right now, but if you ain't seen Sing Street, it's good. Maybe underrated. I mean, all the circles I run with, the people I've talked to who've seen it, raved about it. Brenton, you were one of them. But what I'm going to ask is, do you follow ratings on like a Netflix or any kind of whatever? Like, do you look at the ratings, maybe the Rotten Tomatoes score, to determine if you're going to watch a movie or not? Because I've clicked on Sing Street on Netflix. It had 2 stars. Now, if I was just searching through Netflix and I saw 2 stars on a movie I wasn't sure about, I'd be like, man, I'm not watching this. It might not be good, 2 stars. But because I know people who know movies said it was awesome, I'm going to watch it. And I'm glad that I did. So I'm going to ask you, Britton, do you ever, anybody else that's watching this, do you ever pay attention to the ratings of movies?
So yeah, I mean, I do. I check Rotten Tomatoes. So like it's maybe even like if Transformers would have gotten awesome, like Transformers 5 would have gotten awesome reviews. Like it would have got, like 75% certified fresh. I'm like, maybe I'll have to go check that out now.
Right.
Like, it's getting great positive buzz. I'll go check it out. I think the biggest one may have been Edge of Tomorrow or Live, Die, Repeat, the Tom Cruise movie.
Right.
Like, I saw the trailers. I'm like, man, that looks horrible. This isn't good at all. What is this? It did not look good at all. Or like in, Oblivion had come out the year before, and I thought, Tom Cruise just doing sci-fi movies
weird
now?
stuff.
What is the deal? And I remember I watched I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score for it. It came out. It was really high. I watched some reviews. Everybody was raving about it. And so I went and saw it in the theaters like probably 2 weeks after it came out, just because everybody kept saying it is amazing. And I'm like, okay, I got to go check this out then. So yeah, I do. Sometimes when it's a lower rating, or if it's 50-50, I'll definitely give something that's like, okay, well, half people like it, half people don't. So maybe I'll be in one.
Maybe you'll give it a chance.
Give it a chance.
I guess it might depend on the source, because if Rotten Tomatoes, because it is a combination of certified critics and it's the overall score, it's a little bit different. But on these ones where fans, like anybody can just go and give a rating, those are the ones I tend not to pay attention to whatsoever.
Yeah, IMDb, Yeah.
Netflix being one of them. Oh, I'd have friends like, man, on IMDb, man, this got rated, 8.5 stars. And then they give me the title of the movie and I just start laughing. I'm like, man, don't pay attention. These people don't know what they like. Something blows up, people get excited.
Yep.
But I thought about that today and I was just wondering how people take that, because I bet you money on Rotten Tomatoes, King Arthur probably does not have a high critic score.
No, it does not.
What is it? Do you know what the score is?
Gosh, I'm gonna get up real quick. I think it's in the 20s or lower.
Oh, goodness. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, definitely not in the 20s. Man, I like that film so much.
28%.
28%. Well, there you go. Rotten Tomatoes isn't always right for me.
Yeah, and 74% audience score. So a lot of audience people liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
74% audience score. That's interesting. That's something to take into account.
Yeah. I think you usually have a big difference between audience and critics. Not usually that big, though. So.
Yeah, that was one that's kind of falling middle. If you get one of those art house films, like maybe a Sing Street, if you went on there, like it might be back and forth. It might be where the critics have it real high and the movie audience might have it a little bit lower. I was just fascinated by that when I see scores that I just like, holy crap, man, what's wrong with me? Nobody else likes this movie. But anyway, guys, that's the show for today. Had a lot of stuff to talk about. It's been a while. We've had Father's Day coming up. People out of town. There's just nothing coming out at the theaters. So, man, we had a lot to catch up on, a lot to talk about, more we could talk about. And so because of what's coming out next weekend, we're probably going to do another show next weekend, and that is Spider-Man. Oh, I can't wait for that. So we definitely going to hop on here next week. Somebody hopping on here to talk about that movie. So anyway, guys, that's the show for today. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Until next time, we are out.